What a very interesting three-way bodybuilding comparison this is. 2008, Jay Cutler. 2018, Phil Heath. 2023, Hadi Choopan. Are you joking with me? These guys, all three, lost their titles at these respective events. So something went wrong. What went wrong with these three guys? And who was the best or the most suitable champion if they had have won? Actually, if they had a not placed second, would Jay Cutler have been the good champion? Actually, Jay Cutler, worse the year before, 2007. Arguably the same thing with Phil Heath. His midsection was a little bit worse in 2017. Overall, he was probably bigger and better. Hadi Choopan? Yeah, I think he was better the year before. He was a little bit more conditioned. He is bigger now, though. He is bigger. And that could be a deciding factor. You guys actually wanted to see, or one of you people wanted to see Kai Green involved in this matchup. Kai Green? And then you wanted to see the 2003 Jay Cutler involved in this matchup? Why? I used my creative control to narrow it down to the actual guys that lost their titles. And we'll go through all the shots. I'll give you my opinion on this, guys, because it's gonna be, it's gonna be a guess. These are pictures. They're from different times. The camera angles are tilted thusly, but we are obsessed bodybuilding fans, and we like to set these up anyway and have a look at them anyway. Look at the arms on Jay. Jay's arms, little unsymmetrical, little unsymmetrical here, but not too bad. They got worse as his career went on. His legs were down in size in 2008. Wasn't his conditioning as bad? His conditioning wasn't as good as it could have been. But it was his leg size, I find, in 2008. Way down. Torso heap looks good, especially against Phil Heath. Midsection, not the best. Not proper. Phil's got long legs, and they're big. They're big and long, so they're going to look the biggest in this matchup. I'd actually give third to Phil. And Hadi Choopan? Hadi Choopan's arguably the best in this one. He's the smallest, but he has that vacuum pose. I don't know if he's beating Jay because of the arms. I don't know. Pretty close. Let's go through these shots. And guys, gals, there was no feet of Jay Cutler. I did slip in a couple of feet there at the front double, but none of them jived for the front lat spread. But I used plenty of pictures side by side of Phil and Jay because their heights do change depending on the pose. Jay leans back. Phil's at them lats out pretty good. Narrow clavicle for Phil. Hadi Choopan, maybe the smallest set of wheels here. The shortest anyway. They're pretty peeled. He has a good presentation in this shot. I don't know if he's beating Jay again. So Jay looks pretty strong coming out of the first two shots, I would suggest. And Phil, not so much. Because of the midsection. I gotta be honest, guys. When you turn to the side, now we can experience Phil the Gift Heath. He is incredible from the side. Look at those mounds of muscle. Now Jay, here his side quad. This is his good side. His bad side's the other side. His wheel was a little small. Hadi, he is maybe the smallest in the wheel department, but he's opened up nice in the upper body. He displays a pretty good shot. I would like to see Jay opened up a little bit more, to be honest with you. Dan. But, yeah, I think Jay, he has the capabilities of an easy win in this shot. But he just doesn't, he's not opened up enough. And Phil the Gift Heath, him and Jay, some of the best delts in all of the game. And when you expose Hadi Choopan's pointy delts, and I'm not being mean here, ladies and gentlemen, but obviously, even the powers to be, or almost the powers to be, were talking about that at one point in time. Pointy delts. And it's kind of funny. He has some pointy delts, and it reminds me of another Iranian professional wrestler, the Iron Sheik, who had, of course, pointy boots. So the Iranians love pointy stuff, I would suggest, for sure. Arms, guys, Phil and Jay, I think they're going to be too much for Hadi. So when we turn to the side tricep, yeah, I thought it was going to be this way. Hadi has maybe the best physique. He is in the best condition, and we haven't seen the back yet. We all know Phil. I mean, you can see his glutes even from here. He's looking pretty shredded for sure. But look at the midsection, chest, things of that nature. Even the wheels. Quads. Hadi appears to be pretty darn good. But I cannot in good conscience give him the side tricep pose when I do not see the biggest tricep. I see the smallest tricep, in fact. Jay has a fantastic way to shoot this. To shoot the shot. You ever notice Arnold Schwarzenegger says scoop a lot? What's the scoop? But anyway, awesome physique, but Phil doing too much in the tricep department. You see that? Awesome stuff. Midsection, maybe not the best, maybe the least, of course. But look at the tricep, guys. Here is the important part, the rear lat spread. And I had to go through a lot of shots between Hadi and Phil, and Jay and Phil, for this one, to realize that Phil was never the widest guy in this shot. He really wasn't. He had so much impact and detail in the traps. And I would look at the 2020 comparisons between Hadi and himself, and Hadi was like a beast. He's so wide. He's unbelievably wide. And same thing in 2022. He was dwarfing frigging Big Ramy in this shot. I think he's winning. Hadi Choopan. If not for that three-dimensional thickness in Phil's traps, I don't know, man. Lower half, you're going to go with Phil too because of the hamstrings. Glutes, lighting's different. I don't want to say lighting's better nowadays, but you can kind of see the glutes a little bit more. Maybe Phil just was not as peeled as he once were in that aspect. Jay, what can I say? He lost the Olympia title because he was a little soft from behind. Good and wide, but nothing doing, guys. Go to the rear double, and once again, Jay would probably fall last in line because of the conditioning. Size-wise, I mean, the guy is a house, but look at the lower backs. And when you gotta deal with the likes of a Phil Heath and Hadi Choopan, who are very similar in the back development, and we can really see Hadi Choopan's back was incredible. Didn't have the mountainous terrain of a Phil Heath, but he was good and wide. We could see that from the rear lat spread as well. Lower half, again, you're probably going to want to go with Phil. Hamstrings are just too much, and yeah, the glutes probably as well, but Hadi's pretty peeled in that aspect. But here's the thing. Phil just is too much, and I would suggest Jay along with this aspect too in this entire matchup. In the forearms and the calves, and that's a part of the old-timey bodybuilders. And Dorian Yates carried on that tradition. Big forearms, calves, things of that nature. The old-timey bodybuilders. And Hadi Choopan, he just does not have that impact, and it really is exposed in this shot. I'm here to tell you. Go to the abs and thigh. And yeah, even in this shot, you can see the arms of Phil. Phil, underrated man in those arms. Bicep, tricep, forearms, delts, all, each. But they are not going to help him in this shot against the luxurious midsection of Hadi Choopan, or Jay Cutler for that matter. Even in 08, Jay, he still had the feathering in the quad. Tweren't what it was, or tweren't what it would have been in 2009, 1 year after this. But still doing enough to defeat Phil Heath, and they are built totally different. Jay had the long torso, short legs. Phil had long legs, short torso. And the short torso guys, like a Ronnie Coleman, they never hit the best abs and thigh. And I think Hadi Choopan, a short-legged, much like Jay. Long torso, of course, Jay a little taller overall, but similar in the long torso-ness, which creates a great abs and thigh. Then you get an Andrew Jack, long leg, long torso. What are you going to do about that? Wow. So yes, Hadi Choopan, ridges in the abs, I mean, you could get lost in there. And people say, oh, the abs aren't as good as they used to be. Hadi Choopan sitting there on his chair thinking, well, mine are. Mine are. Here's the most muscular, and since we were talking about abs, that's the first thing that I notice here. And it is a big deal, guys. You had Dave Palumbo with maybe the biggest midsection, the most famous big belly anyway. He was trying to defend Phil Heath. It's part of the game, he was saying. It's part of the game. Well, it is and it isn't, if you know what I mean. But there's two schools on the thought. Jay Cutler, he was big. Nobody's as big and round and full in those arms as Phil. But are you going to sacrifice the midsection for pushing so much food? And I'm sure Jay ate a lot of food too. But yeah, I mean, we're not ignoring Hadi Choopan here. I think he's getting the easy win. I think Hadi Choopan's getting the win. And Phil, we're going to kind of excuse those gray big arms because of the midsection. Positiono. Almost unable to see the midsection here. And I love Phil Heath, guys. He's one of my favorites. He's an Olympia champion. Multiple. 7? What is it, 7? Beat Dorian anyway. But not quite as many as Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney. But you guys would hate me if I didn't say, his midsection was a little bit much in 2018 and in 2017. With all due respect, Phil, I mean, you had some of the best muscle attachments, muscles all over the place. And heck, I'll give him the crab position. He had the calves, he had the forearms, the delts. Hadi was never the best in the crab. Not the best. Maybe the most ripped. Maybe the most ripped. Peeled, so to speak. And maybe the overall, I would suggest, the most conditioned guy in this match. Considering the front shots and the rear shots side as well. But overall, a pretty close matchup between these three silver medalists. You notice Hadi's foot up there? He could hold a cigar in that, puff away on that cigar like Edward G. Robinson. Meow, some screw stole my Olympia title. Meow, meow, meow. No? Oh, anyway. Maybe an unpopular decision, especially looking at this final pose, but I actually have Hadi Choopan winning this one. I have Hadi Choopan winning just narrowly, and Phil Heath taking second prize. He wins the silver medal in this silver medal matchup, and Jay Cutler takes third. The conditioning, the unsymmetrical nature of the wheels, maybe a little in the arm as well. I think that took his stock a little bit down. Phil's midsection, it was just a little bit too much. Not quite a casus belli, but almost. Almost. And Hadi Choopan, yes, he lacked the forearms and the calves that the other two had, but I just think the other two factors were enough to get Hadi the win. And keep in mind, guys, the most muscular was pretty much a write-off, because if you divide up both the hands clasped and the crab position, Hadi, heck, he was probably winning that hands clasped. Pretty much perfect. And if you're going to go by the symmetry round, maybe give that to Hadi as well, considering Phil probably would have defeated Jay, at least from behind, and maybe Hadi too, but Hadi was winning from the front. So even if you take that into consideration, I still go with Hadi 1, Phil 2, and Jay 3. Maybe unpopular, like I said. Hey, Phil Heath, when that midsection was even a little bit better, nobody was touching that guy. Nobody was touching that guy. But he lost the title for a reason, and I guess the rest of them did too. They all lost their titles because somebody else was better. And especially in Hadi's case, I don't think that he dropped the ball one bit. I just think that Derek was just too much, but there's always next year. Hit thumbs up on the video, guys. Let me know who you think won this. Just because Mark's Max Muscle said it doesn't make it so. Pitchers after all, guys. Have a great one.